Hi guys, so it's a Sunday afternoon and I'm back to my vlogging duty. So today something interesting happened when I opened the newspaper in the morning, and this is the paper that I read. So it's one of India's leading newspapers. See what I spotted. It says no mention of GMAT attempts. So I couldn't figure out what was so great about the news that it made front page news. It's basically speaking about the option to cancel your scores and nobody comes to know. But that's been there for quite some time. So it was a pretty dumb article because when you read the actual article inside the newspaper, this is what it had to say. You can see it on your screen now. The headline itself tells you that it's talking nonsense because this regulation used to be there earlier. Now in March 2016, the GMAT came up with a new policy where you can reinstate your score for as long as 5 years after you've taken the test. So it's not 2 months or 60 days as the article says. That used to be the case earlier. So the reason I thought I'll bring it up is because this is a very popular newspaper in India, and I'm sure a lot of students will read the article and get confused. I have no idea why this article has appeared in the papers right now, and that too on the front page. But whatever be the reason, please don't get confused. The GMAT's policies have not changed. So after taking the test, if you accept the score, but later on you realize that no, I should have cancelled it, you can do that till 72 hours after taking the test. And after cancelling the test, you could have cancelled your test immediately after the test itself or within the next 3 days, whatever. After a certain period of time, if you want to reinstate the score, you can do so, and that period of time is not 60 days as that stupid article says. It is 4 years, 11 months. So almost 5 years basically. So that is the policy. So please don't get confused. The policy remains unchanged. There were a few more stupid things in that article incidentally which let's ignore. So now let's move from GMAT to sentence correction. So I just want to speak about one or two common problems that students face in sentence correction. And the problem I'm going to address today is a problem typically faced by students who speak well. So your English is good in that sense. So you could be a native speaker. You could also be a non-native speaker. A lot of people in India speak very, very well. So if you are well spoken, then in my experience, it presents a completely new type of problem. And the problem, of course, has something to do with the fact that you end up using your ear to answer questions. You see, the bigger problem is whenever I have such a student studying from me, so I've taught them all the rules, all the concepts of sentence correction. Then I ask them to start practicing from the official guide. That's where they face a problem, and they come and tell me that the problem is that we are not able to figure out which rule to apply where. We can't remember all the rules. In fact, it's the most common complaint I get from students that they don't remember all the rules. The answer is you don't have to remember all the rules, honestly. See, when you approach a sentence correction question, you would not know what error type is being tested. And there will typically be more than one error type being tested in any case. So all you will do is splits. You know how to do splits. So with the first word, with the last word, with the idiom, with the verb, at Aristotle we give you an entire order to follow. But you basically have to do your splits. In doing the splits, you will be able to spot some differences in the options. That's the idea behind doing splits. So if you see the 2 options give me each and 3 options give me all, then I'm sure you can figure out you're looking at a subject-verb agreement problem. If you see 2 of the options give you an ing, 3 of them give you an ed, you could be looking at a modifier problem or even a parallel structure problem. You see that you have a list of items, definitely looking at a parallel structure problem. You see some of the options starting with a like or an unlike, definitely a comparison question. So the point is, at first, don't expect to immediately be able to recall any particular rule as such. When you look at a question for the first time, read the entire sentence, trying to understand the meaning of the sentence, and then try doing your splits. In doing those splits, you will be able to, most of the time, identify some error or the other. But don't go in with the mindset that I don't remember the rules or I don't remember the errors or I can't spot the errors, because then you will definitely never be able to spot the errors. What typically I see, you guys doing is approaching the questions in exactly the same way as you were approaching it before you studied from me or from any other teacher. So you see, if you keep doing the same things, you'll obviously keep getting the same results. So while you know all the rules, you're still approaching, sentences in the old-fashioned way where you read all the options and you go with the one that sounds the best to you. And the reason you do that is because you think that goes faster, which is absolutely correct, by the way. It will go faster because you're used to it. But we don't really care about time. As I've said, the first stage in your preparation has got nothing to do with time management. It's got everything to do with accuracy management. Time management is your second stage of preparation. So in the first stage, when you practice questions from the OG, make a conscious effort to not, do it the way you had been doing it earlier. Which means you will slow down. It will definitely slow you down. You will take twice as much time as you would normally have taken, which is absolutely okay, because once you have done 60-70 questions, your speed will again improve automatically. So don't worry about time, but make a conscious effort to do your splits. Don't approach questions in the same way as you've been approaching them in the past. It's the biggest mistake students make, which is not making a conscious effort to try a different approach. Even more relevant if you are retaking the test. For those of you who are retakers, when you retake, when you're preparing again, for sure you should try a different approach, right? Why would you keep doing the same thing that you were doing earlier? Because it never paid off dividends earlier. So change of approach is very, very important. It's easier said than done. Very difficult to, break out of habits, good habits or bad habits. But my mantra is change is the only constant. I love change and I absolutely detest monotony. But I understand it's difficult to break away from the status quo. So you've been doing it one way, so you want to keep doing it that way, but unless you make a conscious effort to change that, there will be no appreciable difference in your performance. So please make that effort. It's going to be very, very crucial. Here I'll address one more thing, because one demand that I face from students at times is that you should give questions by error type. Now, while in the book we have done that, we've given you practice drills at the end of each error type, but I think it's a terrible idea to give you or make you practice questions by error type. See, the point is, if I tell you that okay, I'm giving you these 10 questions and in these 10 you are being tested on subject-verb agreement. Even then if you can't find the error, something would have to be drastically wrong with you. If I've already told you there's an agreement problem, you will immediately go and look for the verb and you will find the problem. But it doesn't help, because nobody on the exam will tell you that this is an agreement problem or a parallel structure problem or a comparison problem. So practicing questions by error type is not a good idea. Some kind of a practice drill like what we've given in the SC grade is more than enough to absorb whatever you've learned about that particular error type. But questions you must practice without knowing what error type you're looking at. You must always try to do splits on sentence correction questions. That's the best way of answering the question in less than a minute, and that's the way you should try to adopt. It won't come naturally to most of you initially, but it will soon become second nature if you keep at it. Don't give up and go back to your old habits, because then you will get the same results. There won't be any change. Right? So I hope you guys found this information useful, and I shall see you guys tomorrow in a new vlog. Have a nice day.